Loneliness kills, literally, faster than smoking, obesity, or alcohol abuse. Have you ever felt that you just cannot connect with others at a level where you feel truly in the moment? Like you go into a party, you are surrounded by people, but you feel invisible. Do you have someone you can share anything with and ask them for anything, anytime? Loneliness is this feeling of disconnection and helplessness. Well, it impacts all of us. A quarter of the world feels lonely, and this feeling is even higher in younger adults. A new study found that around 1 in 5 people felt loneliness a lot of the time yesterday. And the more lonely you are, the more sad, anxious, and angry you get. I used to think that once I had fame, social status, romantic love, and a big piggy bank, then I would feel like a part of the group rather than apart from it. And this is also a widely held belief. But these imagined antidotes don't fill the gap inside. The opposite of loneliness is not being surrounded by people or being famous. Rather, it is about the subjective feeling of not being able to tune into the rhythms of humanity, poetically speaking. Janis Joplin, the original queen of rock and roll, said, "On stage, I make love to thousands of people. Then I go home alone." Or from Robin Williams, "The worst thing is not to end up alone, but to end up with people that make you feel all alone." You might have experienced that visceral sensation of wanting to run away from everyone you know of and never see them again. That is what intense loneliness means. This feeling of disconnection hijacks our biology like no other emotion. It increases the likelihood of mortality by around 30%, or equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It lights up the same areas of the brain that activates when you are physically hurt. Because our limbic system does not differentiate between whether we are physically threatened or emotionally overwhelmed. But we ought to ask the question, why is that our systems are hijacked by loneliness? What makes lonely dinners feel less tasty? Why do we overeat when we feel socially discontented, even though the food feels less tasty? Why do we sometimes feel like going outside just to be around other human beings? And above all, why do we crave human connection? To answer these questions, let's go back to how we evolved as a species. Early primates emerged around 60 million years ago. They were generally small-bodied, which provided mobility and diet efficiency, but increased their vulnerability to predators. To survive, they had to invent strategies other than physical dominance. And what they came up with had the highest survival rates among all animals: interdependence. Because as a group, they had better access to resources, better protection against predators, and combined knowledge and intelligence sharing. But something very interesting started to happen within their brains as they began to live in troops. Their brains, which consisted of reptilian brain and limbic system, did not have the capacity to navigate complex social structures. Living in groups created this need to recognize the mental states of others, the theory of mind, the intelligence needs of which are far greater than finding the next meal or avoiding becoming the next meal. So we evolved the prefrontal cortex, which handles navigating complex social structures, advanced planning, long-term strategy, and abstract reasoning. As John T. Kochaipo says in the famous book Loneliness, it was the need to deal with other people that in large part made us who and what we are today. And as the evolutionary biologist Martin Nowak suggests, the most remarkable aspect of evolution is the ability to generate cooperation alongside competition. So we evolved to be the most intelligent among animals, not to solve complex calculus problems or shooting rockets into space, but to navigate the complexities of living in a society. The strategy of interdependence was tested in the famous experiments on the prisoner's dilemma, a game in which two players can either defect or cooperate. In 1980, experimenters ran tournaments to see which strategies fared best over time. The surprising result was that the strategy tit for tat won consistently. Those experiments showed that without any conscious awareness, organisms could evolve societies based on positive social interaction for no reason other than the strategy's superior long-term results. Thus, loneliness hurts because our survival is threatened. Physical pain serves to protect individuals from bodily harm. Similarly, social pain likely evolved to safeguard us from the risks of isolation. Failing to tune in to what others were thinking and feeling became a greater threat than being attacked by a lion or bitten by a snake. As hominids evolved into humans, in small groups grew into tribes and later kingdoms, the pain of social exile remained one of the harshest punishments, second only to torture or death. It is no coincidence that even today in modern prisons, the ultimate form of punishment is solitary confinement. Thus, when you feel alone, it is an alarm triggered by a 60-million-year-old wiring. It is pushing you to connect, join, and be in rhythm with others. We all have different approaches and strategies to create supportive social relationships. Personally, for me, it's around shared activities. How often do you feel lonely? And what works best for you? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.